from Midwest Studios in East Columbia, this is the Stickys Cabana Podcast.
All right, folks, how you doing today? It's Sticky here with Stickys Cabana Podcast, Season 4, Episode 3. Right beside me here, I got my co-host.
Hi, everybody. It is I, your furry pal, Topher.
Cracks me up every time. And across the table from us here, we have Tex Caroll. Tex, you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, I love talking. I love talking. You know that. First off, thanks, Sticky, for giving me the opportunity to come down. And plus, all the great things you've done for the local music scene over the years. I don't know how many years now we've been making contact with each other, but it's been a few, so yeah. I really appreciate being part of the Sticky family. So I'm just a local player. I've been involved in music since right after I got out of college back in '75. At that
Longer
point,
you've been alive.
Yeah, unbelievable.
By a year.
It was a different time, fellas. There's no doubt about that. And I actually started running sound for a band in Mobley called the Dillinger Gang. Had a pair of PVSP ones and I think a Crown D150 and a Crown D60, and that was a PA. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then did that for a year or two, and then got involved with some folks up in Kirksville. And of course, that was the beginning of the Southern Rock era. And I was a band called Survival that evolved into another group called Travis Slaughter. They were awesome, man. They had it, you know. That fell apart New Year's Eve 1980, which is a story in itself. And I pretty much made up the decision if I was going to do this sound thing, I needed to get to a bigger market. So put a resume up in Kansas City, and sure enough, got hooked up with a band called Prisoner. There's a radio-friendly name for sure, but a great bunch of guys. A guy named Wally Binney was a ramrod of that. I was with them for about a year, did some great tours with them. I did 6 weeks one time where we started on the 4th of July in Belle Fourche, South Dakota, 2 weeks in Wyoming, 2 weeks in Montana, and then I ended up with a week in Idaho Falls. And they were the kind of guys that if there were some interesting rocks aside of the road, we had 2 vans and a trailer, and off we'd go. And I can remember sometimes we were places with where we could see people been there with pitons and stuff, and here we are, fingernails and Converse all stars.
Yeah.
But and then eventually started working with another group from Kansas City that Livewire that eventually became called The Urge. Kind of interesting because there's a band in St. Louis that had The Urge. Ewing. And
shout out, Steve.
They Kansas City Urge started in about '82, and it was one of the best situations band-wise. That was an era where we would play 2 weeks at a place for 6 nights a week, 4 hours a night. And we do like 2 weeks in Kansas City, go out on the road for 2 weeks, come back. There was another place in North Kansas City, go out on the road 2 weeks. And it was the era of Heart and Starship and Van Halen and that. And we had 5 guys in the band. And I always talk about franchise players. You usually got 1 or 2 franchise players. We had 5. We had a guitar player that was like an Alan Holdsworth. He didn't sing, but then we had a bass player that sang, drummer sang, and then 2 guys that could do guitar and keyboards, and then they had the high end. So we had 4-part harmonies going.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was had 120 cover songs, 15 original songs. Had a 5-way PA and 20 par cans and truss, and it was one of those situations where we were just almost right there. Yeah, I mean, it was we were doing some opening act kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, this is the one. One guy left for whatever reason, and then that was little by little, and then. Came back home and played in a couple different country bands, started playing drums again, played in a couple of country bands during that era. Then eventually got hooked up with a band over at Monroe City called Black Tie. That the ramrod of that, Floyd Buckman, had a really nice outdoor rig that we could do bike rallies and that kind of stuff. And we got to do Steppenwolf once, and Molly Hatched a couple times, and David Allen Coe, and that kind of stuff, which was cool.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he was like, well, if you want to, you come down and work on the farm part-time. Well, I was a country boy, so I knew which end feed goes in, which end other stuff comes out. And before I knew it, part-time went to full-time. 5 years went by, and the boss was like, well, you get the CDL, and you can drive the big truck, and you and I'll start trading weekends. I'm like,
Yeah.
So I already had a 4-year degree in drafting, but I was like, okay, this might be time for me to go back to school, with the idea that I'd like to teach social studies on the high school level. Well, and all this time I'm still doing some sound work and that, and discovered everybody was saying, well, special ed, especially for guys, the sky's the limit. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure. Well, a job opened up in a behavior disorder classroom in elementary school, kindergartners through third graders, and it was a second semester. We were on the second floor in a little elementary school. Had, I think, 10 kids, and I remember looking across the room, and 2 are choking each other, and one's up on a table doing a hokey pokey, and one's getting ready to jump out the second story window. And I'm like, okay, let's get out of the window, we'll work from there. And I just kind of felt a tap on the shoulder, like, I can do this. Well, then consequently spent the next 20 years working on alternative programs. And I remember people saying, man, I don't believe you like doing this. And I said, look, I spent 15 years on the road dealing with musicians, 5 years on the hog farm. This is a piece of cake, man. Yeah. So, and really loved the programs. I mean, they were crucial. The kids knew, even though we were tough and very, very strict, that we cared about them and wanted to make a difference. So then, lucked out and got the house engineer job over at the Silver Bullet in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And man, that was a great gig. Great system. We'd have road bands 3 nights a week, and then we'd have headliners a couple times a month. And one year we had Haggard in the spring and Jones that summer, and then we had Willie in the fall. And he ended up coming back the next year again. And I always like telling the story about Willie. Now, this is back in the late 90s. And that first time I asked his guys, how long will he play? Said, well, it depends on how he feels. Says if he feels good, he'll probably play 90 minutes. He feels bad, he may play 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And it's like, now wait a minute, he's going to play longer if he feels bad. Says, yeah, he wants to die on stage.
Yeah.
Well, that was back in the 90s. He ain't got her done yet, and let's hope that he doesn't get it done for a while, because he's definitely an national treasure.
Yeah.
So then I was also starting to fill in once in a while with some country bands playing drums. Met a lady by the name of Sheila Harrison, and a really good singer, good female country vocalist. And her mother, Adelaide Minor, had a place over at Mark Twain called Grandma's. Well, one Sunday morning, this is 20 some odd years ago, I get a phone call. Tex, this is Grandma and Adelaide Minor. And I said, I've heard of you and heard you're quite the gracious lady. And she said, well, we got this show over here and we got this drummer and he's really good, but he just plays so loud. He's running all our customers off, and Sheila says that you can play quiet. And I said, ma'am, you're signing the check.
Yeah.
Well, I've been there 20 years. I moved my drums maybe twice in that 20 years. Grandma's 94. We got a show tonight, as a matter of fact. She has a guest. We got a house band, some really good players, and the bass player and I, we had actually played together before working there. And I mean, it's great, and it's a lot of fun. And I would encourage people to come over and check us out. We do the first and third Saturday every month, except when it's snowing.
Yeah.
Traditional country. Of course, if I'm involved, I'm going to throw a few curveballs in there every once in a while. So I play drums, and then I get out in front and do my thing with my acoustic.
A lot of video from it, so yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. It really is. And so I do that. And then it's been, 7 or 8 years ago, got the idea, I think I'd like to just pick up the acoustic again and start doing that on my own. Because after all those years of being a drummer and a sound man and packing all this stuff around, I'm like, there's got to be an easier way to do this. And I thought, okay,
Yeah, no
get the
lie there.
acoustic out. Hey, it's scratching that itch. The only way I could go any lighter would be to learn to play the harp, and probably that ain't gonna happen at this point in my life. So I do this and have fun. Do a few originals, but I look at it being more. I guess I'm an entertainer, and I can get out and play the other weekends. So I'll hit the bars once in a while. I like the farmers markets. Those are always fun.
Yeah.
I don't call them senior living circumstances. I call them wisdom centers. So I do a few of those. Here recently, I was fortunate enough to get to play up at the Wilcox Opry in Macon, which in this area, that's like standing in a circle at the Ryman.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then lo and behold, my daughter, who lives in Dallas, hooked me up with a winery that she works out down there. And actually, I'm leaving next week. I'll go down, and probably 4 or 5 times a year, I go down and do the thing at the winery. And Texans are pretty generous. I don't think I want to live down there, but so I go down. That way, I get to spend some time with her. And she plays piano, so she'll get up and play and sing with me too. So do that. Still coaching.
Yeah.
I coach middle school track and high school cross country, and I really love my high school cross country kids. Man, they're a different breed of cat.
You run along with them, right?
Well, I use the term run loosely.
Yeah.
Usually what I do is I'll send them on their route and say, okay, here's where you got to go, here's what you're going to do, but you got to circle back and make sure that everybody's is coming along and make sure that I'm not off in the ditch somewhere. So very thankful, very lucky to get to do that. So
Yeah. You do a lot of hiking too, right?
well, I have. I have hiked all the Appalachian Trail. That took me 13 summers when I was working at school. Every year, as soon as school was out, I'd jet out and do a section of it. And then I've hiked all the way from Denver to Durango. That took me 6 summers. And then a whole lot of other shorter trails. The last major endeavor was not this last summer, but summer before. Former teacher friend of mine wanted to go out and do a couple of 14ers, and we went out in June, which is a little bit early, and we did Bearstadt, which is over 14, and then was going to do Pikes Peak. He made it to the top of Bearstadt, but we got within a mile or two, and I was post-holing up past my knees, and I'm like, the old man can't fall.
Yeah.
So I said, look, you go ahead and I'll come back. And he got gassed. There's no doubt about it. Time he got back, he had hit the altitude sickness thing and disappeared in his tent for 15 hours before I saw him again. Mm-hmm. And then we got within about 5 miles of a peak of Pikes Peak on the trail, and it was like, same thing. And it was like, no, so. But I go out there once in a while just for an overnighter. I've got a pretty cool little hammock rig, like being up off the ground and that. So do that. And thankful for every day. 2025, I thought I'd be an old man by now. I tell you, me. So
Not quite there yet, right?
no, can't let the old man in, as the song says. So
Yeah.
anyway.
So you played all around the country. Pretty much anywhere where you can.
Yeah.
What's your all-time favorite venue?
Oh boy, that's a good question.
Uh-huh.
Well, club level, there was a place in Independence called Nightlife, and we used to do 6 nights a week there for 2 weeks. Which another thing too, I wanted to throw this out when I was talking about that era. Mm-hmm. I talked to some of those guys here within the last 5 years, and one of them said, "Do you realize how much we were playing?" They were there for like those 2 years. He said there was 2 years. We played 320 nights a year.
Ooh.
And it was crazy because there were places that we could go in between gigs on a Sunday and not do unplugged, but do minimal gear, and they would usually pay for gas and motels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So but that was the era. Like I say, bands were playing 6 nights a week, places were packed, and things have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Things have changed. But I was lucky. We were lucky. Some really good friends, some great musical moments. My all-time favorite venue, though, as far as playing myself, I got a good friend out in Denver. And before COVID hit, I was going out there and hitting the open mics and doing a little day hiking kind of stuff. And do that 3 or 4 times a year, like I needed an opportunity or a reason to go to Colorado. And he said, we ought to go out and check out Red Rocks. I said, oh, really? He said, you can get there? He said, oh, yeah. So it's a big state park when they haven't got an event happening. And I said, people, you can go up on the stage and people do drum circles and that kind of stuff up there. And I said, you think maybe I could take my guitar? He said, oh, yeah, So it was in November. It was kind of chilly. But sure enough, man, stood right there. And first strum, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
No PA, but it's like, wow. And I don't know, played 30 or 40 minutes. It was like, man, this is cool. And there was a few people drifting by, Well, we got done and we go into Golden, which is right there close to a pizza place, grab a slice. We get down, we're walking out, and this guy goes by and he goes, didn't you just play guitar up at Red Rock? So that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
I've seen the photos.
That was definitely a privilege to get to do that. And so
Do you have a bucket list venue?
The next gig.
Next gig, yeah.
One more gig, man. One more gig,
Yeah.
I'm just thankful to get the opportunity to do it. I don't have any delusions. I don't have any delusion about, how talented I am or whatever, but Ray Wiley Hubbard story about, he was talking about, you go to a Clapton concert, 20,000 people there may be 2 guys in the crowd that go, I can do that. Mm-hmm. I can do that. And Ray Wiley says, I get 2,500, 3,000 people at one of my shows. Over half of them go, hell, I can do that. But I love him to death, man. He is a quick story about Ray Wiley. My daughter, like I say, when she moved to Dallas about 15 years ago, one of the first things she did was said, Dad, there's a video you need to watch. Ray Wiley Hubbard, and I knew who it was. You need to watch this video, Snake Farm. And I thought, oh, man, I knew it. And I'm thinking, what has happened to my daughter, man? She knows who Ray Wiley Hubbard is, and she's seen Snake Farm. Anyway, so I'm just thankful to get to do what I do.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Make I can't say I make money at it, but just I've got rid of all my PA gear. I'm down to bare bones. I got a nice little.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, we've got a little bit.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, man. I'm glad to see the stuff get used.
A couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I do. Yeah. The only thing I got left, I got a pair of JBL 4560s and some Northwest horns with great big JBL drivers on them. Still working, man. And I've had them since probably 77, 78, something like that.
Lucas, what do we got in petty cash?
Well, hey, if you guys want them, you come down and carry them out. They're yours.
Yep.
They're in the. I'm serious.
Done.
I'm serious because they sitting in a barn. I always tell the story. We bought them it was Travis Slaughter era, and I think it was somewhere up in Iowa. Well, in '74 was when they had the Ozark Music Festival, and Bob Heil put that PA together.
Yeah.
Well, I got his book when I was learning how to run sound, and there was a picture of that PA. And then I remembered that it was nothing but 4560s and Northwest horns with them great big old JBL drivers on them.
Yeah.
And so we bought these up in somewhere in Iowa, and I said, I'll bet when they were done, there was no way in the world they were going to try to put that system together anywhere again, and it got broke up.
Dispersed.
And I always said, those cabinets and those horns were at the Ozark Festival, so I don't know, but it's a good story.
It works. It works.
It works. It works. But I used them at bottoms. You know, there was a time where I went in. I've got a pair of PV knockoffs that I'd use, and so I'd have one of each of those on the side and those horns. And that was PA I used a lot back until I got my JBL double 15 cabinets with horns and started using those for most of my stuff. So hey,
We've got the Yamaha version of those. So
yeah. So you guys are more than welcome to them because I'll never use them, and then I had a Catalina EV Catalina board, 12-channel master and 8-channel expander, and that was actually the board that I used during the Urge era, and then for a long time. I mean, it was massive, and I let somebody borrow the master, and it disappeared into wherever. But I still got the 8-channel expander that don't do me no good now. I'm sure if I put it on eBay or something like that, there's probably somebody out there that's looking for that.
Somebody'd snatch that up.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah,
that's me, man.
There you go.
I just like to. I'm lucky, music is, and I don't understand people that don't get it. And there are people out there, they can't find a beat no way at all. And some of them are playing drums. No, I'm playing too. but it's been pretty cool. It's been tough. There's no doubt about it. The mileage. I put 500,000 miles on a Ranger back in that era. 300,000 on one motor and 200 on the other.
Jeez.
And and like this, it's 9.5 hours to McKinney where I play. Warmer weather, I split it up, but it's just kind of my old road dog thing, man. I turn on Outlaw Country on Sirius XM and down the road we go.
That's the way you go.
Thankful for it. So
and you still do quite a bit travel, like you said. You got Texas coming up.
Yeah, that's my only big trip, and the reason for that is because my daughter being down there and I get to spend time with her. But it's cool, and then like I say, they've been very generous down there. The times I've gone down there, it's definitely made it worth the while, and just get the opportunity to do it. And they got a house PA, got a cool little house PA, and so all I got to do is show up with my guitar, and I've got the bugs for the guitar. I do wireless, and I've got a country gentleman type headset. So I can move around. I like to move.
I've seen you.
I like to move. Not that I'm a great dancer, but I just gotta feel it. Gotta feel it.
So, a couple questions for you here.
Sure.
Two things. The long hair. What's the story with the long hair? How come how long have you had it?
Well, last time I was in the barber shop was May of 1974. Or 73, let me take it back. May of 73. Haircuts were $1.75 back then. I was transferring from Moberly Junior College to Warrensburg, and went down in May, do the interview for everything, and had an interview with the assistant. I won't say what his name was, and he's got my records out in front of him, and it looks really good. We'll check on the grade point and probably going to be getting transfer scholarship. I'm like, excellent, sounds good. I said, so all ready to get you enrolled. You just got to get a haircut. Well, it was like about here. I'm like, now wait a minute. This is a state-supported school, and you're going to deny me enrollment because I like my hair. Let me get back to you. Mm-hmm. So I went to the junior college, and at that point it was just the one building, and everybody knew everybody, and so I went and talked to the president. I was like, Dr. Norris, what's the deal that they're not wanting me to enroll in? I said, what are you talking about? And I told him the story, and he said, I can't believe it. He said, we spend all this time to get these courses to where they will transfer or be accredited, and they pull this kind of, and I won't say what he said. He says, I'll get you into Kirksville, whatever, or Maryville, there are all kinds of places. I said, well, I got friends that are going to school down there. This drafting program is what I really want to do. So I had a girlfriend that snipped off a little bit, pushed it back, put on a coat and a tie, went back. This time it was the dean of admissions, the head guy, everything out there. Oh, yeah, looks good. All ready to get you enrolled. I said, well, what about the scholarship? Well, you got to have a 3.5 and you've got a 3.495, 5 thousandths of a point. So that was the last time. I just who I am now.
Yeah.
Mom was still alive. She would have disowned me if I'd have cut it. My wife would have divorced me. Wait a minute, she did one time. No, no, she came back. No, it's just who I am. I just always believe it's what inside your actions and not what you look like on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
So. My wife has said the same thing. You cut the beard, you cut the hair. I'm going Sinead O'Connor on you.
Yours too, huh?
Yup.
Yeah. I threatened to do mine the other day. I was like, all right, I've had it. My hair, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. My wife's like, so am I.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you ain't taking that off.
I don't know. It's just the time I grew up in, the young people, they don't realize the kind of freedoms that they do have and how far things have come, and how. But that's not to say that people aren't as judgmental as they've ever been. But you just got to prove them wrong. That hey, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, it'd have to be a very good cause. Last time I cut my hair off, my wife, we took 19 inches off it, donated Locks for Love.
Yep.
And
there you go.
It would have to be a good cause. Otherwise, she'd tell me no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the story on that.
Another question for you: sunglasses. Do you always have them on every show? Yeah.
I don't know. It's an affectation. I don't know. No, I guess it goes back to part of my coaching days. That just wore glasses all the time. There was some kids that even asked my daughter about it at one point. She said, "I've never seen my dad's eyes." Well, it's not true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm just comfortable.
Yeah.
That way I can watch the crowd.
Yes.
Like I want to, and if I want to close my eyes, I can. And then it helps me, I guess, focus too.
Yeah.
As part of it. But it's just part of what I am.
Yeah.
So.
Got anything?
I do.
Okay.
And I don't know how many people have ever noticed while you're playing the communicator badge.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my quick way out, man. I always joke that's my quick way out because I grew up watching the original and I followed all through everything. And I noticed that there's a new movie that's going to be on Paramount. Michelle Yeoh is doing the Section 31. Any of it I watch, I just I like sci-fi. I like to read sci-fi. I always thought that, for the most part, Star Trek had that positive kind of, okay, we are going to survive, we're going to get farther out. Though I got a feeling we're running up against some physics that some of that stuff ain't going to happen, man.
Yeah.
I think it was a Arthur C. Clarke book, Childhood's End.
Yes.
Where whoever the aliens are that show up and end up looking like the devil say that, sorry, the man is not for the stars. Well, we've got the physical limitations that there's no way. Now, with what's going on with the AI and all that and the commingling of the stuff, man, what is our next step? But I always wanted to be around long enough to see us walk on Mars, but I don't know about that now. If we could just get back to the moon, that would be
We
nice.
haven't been to the moon since the 70s.
69.
69.
Yeah, late or early 70s.
Yeah.
We did how many? I can't remember how many times we went.
17 Apollo missions, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. But it was, made us believe that we could do those big things and that kind of stuff, and pulled us together. And John Kennedy said, "We're going to the moon," and by golly, we went.
Yeah.
And I always used to tell my students and athletes too. We won 2 world wars, and we put a man on the moon using a slide rule. Now go look up that slide rule, because that phone that we got right now, that's way, way beyond what the technology that they use to. They figured it out in longhand.
Yeah.
Them women wrote it out in longhand.
In cursive.
Yeah, in cursive. What's that?
Don't you cursive at me.
Yeah. So, that's my thing with that. That's my quick way out. And,
There you go.
And feel like I'm not ready to go unless I got my oh man, I forgot my.
We see it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think every show, isn't it?
Well, that's, yeah, because if I
I
don't
can't
have it, I'm
remember
like,
a time when I've seen him without it.
yeah,
So,
if I don't have, I'm like getting ready to go, and oh man, I forget, it's in the pocket with the phone and the, and by the way, I have updated. I do have a real phone.
Oh, got him an upgrade.
I don't have a flip phone anymore. My wife finally
So you had that flip phone for a while.
yeah.
oh, forever, man. And so finally, yes,
Yep.
there it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
went out and got himself a chocolate bar.
Oh man, it's a brick, ain't it? It is a brick.
That's about
It
like
is
mine.
a brick. And it's like the Facebook thing. I had some bad experience early on with social media with girls cross country team. And I wasn't a real big fan of social media. And it took a while for me to come around. And wife finally convinced me, well, you're playing out, you put your dates there, you don't have to get involved in all that other stuff that's out there. And we sat down to do it there at the PC, and she gets it going and says, now, send a request to myself, and then we'll send one down to the daughter just to make sure it's working. 30 seconds go by, and wife's phone rings, and it's my daughter, and I can hear her. Mom, I don't know what's going on, but somebody's using Dad's name trying to friend me on Facebook, because there wasn't any way in the world, But I, that's the only one. I don't do any other. We have, of course, we got a platform for athletics to communicate with parents and athletes, but the other stuff, I just that's enough. And I can see, man, already with this, the difference between the flip phone, because I get on this, and before I know it, I'm doing this, and it's like, whoa, just exactly what you didn't want to do.
Yep.
But I can see the advantages of it. But by the same token, man, we survived.
Oh,
We survived with a lot of these things that people now, these are necessities.
Yes.
And we've convinced ourselves that they are. And I'm not a Luddite, man. I don't say that all technology is bad, but I think that you got to have some common sense.
Yeah. It's like, how old were you when you got your first cell phone? Now, you hear that question a lot from a lot of people. I'm like,
29.
24.
I was
And
71.
the only reason I actually, and this is going to date me, I got a pager first.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
A textable pager. And
You get it?
all of that was only because I was working 60 some odd hours a week.
Yeah.
And if my wife at the time had an issue or went into labor or whatever,
Yeah.
I had to be able to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get 911 across it and call home or whatever. You have to find the closest payphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's aging ourselves a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoever sees a payphone,
Yeah, there's
a payphone anymore.
Yeah. That's aging us all a little bit there.
well, hey, thankful for every day.
Yeah.
And Willie said I woke up this morning, I still wasn't dead yet, so it's a good day.
Yeah.
So I always say, woke up on the right side of the daisies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good day.
Be great.
Engineers, any day above great.
Yeah.
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 But with that, we are going to take a slight pause for the cause. A little message from our sponsor. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, here's a medley of my hit. Memories are made, hearts are broken. You think I'm kidding, man, I ain't joking. Ain't got enough sense to be afraid. Memories are made and hearts are broken. Played in a place, glass at my back, trying to find that westward track. Wondering what Chris would say if he could see old Cheyenne looking this way. Memories are made, hearts are broken. You think I'm kidding, man, I ain't joking. Ain't got enough sense to be afraid. Memories are made and hearts are broken. Memories are made and hearts are broken. Peace and courage.
And we're back
All
with
right.
Mr. Tex Caroll
Yeah.
here on the Cabana Podcast in our lovely new abode at Midwest Studios in East Columbia.
Awesome.
Yeah. You've been on a couple of our episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Very fortunate.
Every time, different spot.
That's cool, man.
I think the very first time, though, I had you on, it was just me and you.
Yeah.
And it was just audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just an audio thing.
The pre-video days.
The pre-video
Yeah.
days, yes.
We're moving on.
We are
Moving
for
on.
sure, for sure. So, how many guitars do you own?
Actually, just two.
Just two?
My wife,
Yeah.
my wife has a 1972 Ovation roundback,
Okay.
and that's what I really first started on, and had a Lawrence pickup to put in it with coming out, and did that. The action on it was bad. You know how those Ovations are, man. You just get to the point you can't tighten the nut down anymore. And I was like, I'm going to look around a pawn shop and see if I can find me an old beater just to have another guitar. Didn't think anything about it. Came home, work one day, and there was a couple of boxes sitting over in the corner, and there was a quilt over them. Well, my wife is a quilter, and I didn't think anything about it. I thought it was some quilt stuff. She comes home later, and we're sitting there in the living room talking. She says, I know it's not quite your birthday yet, but I want to go ahead and give you your present. I said, no, wait a minute. We had talked about we were going to do work on the deck. We had other things about the house. I know, but you didn't notice those boxes over in the corner? And I look over, and there was an O-N-E with the trademark. And sure enough, there was my Epi, my Dave Navarro signature Epi. And so there was a box for the guitar and a box for the case, and I'm like, man, I need a case for the case. Of course, it's had its hits now, but I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. But I love my Epi, man. And then plus it's all I gotta do is plug my bug in and that's my two guitars.
How long have you had that one?
Trying to think, probably 5-6 years. It's been a while. So she's had some miles. Like I said, I just put new strings on it yesterday, so she's a little bit
little
twangy,
tight, yeah.
Twangy yet.
little
Twangy,
twangy,
yeah.
but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. No.
Sure. So, what kind of shows you got coming up right now?
Well, like I say, I've got tonight, Grandma's. We got a special guest, Samantha Corey, will be there, and we start at 7. Do an hour, take a break. Grandma gives away some stuff, and then we do the gospel last song, and so we'll do that. And like I say, that's first and third Saturday night. I encourage people to come over. We have a good time, and it's traditional country, but we have fun, and we don't take ourselves too serious. Then I'll be over at Monroe Manor in Paris. I think it's Wednesday, and then I take off Thursday and I'll drive to McKinney and play down there Friday night, and then come back on Saturday. And let's see, I think I've got another senior center to play right after that.
Wisdom Center.
Wisdom Center.
Yes,
Wisdom
there you
Center.
go.
Wisdom Center. And then the farmers market. I'll be at Columbia Farmers Market. I think it's the 8th of February, which is a really good gig, man. I love those farmers markets. I do that one, and Boonville has one, and Moberly has one. That's pretty much. I got a couple things that are lining up for the summer already. I like to get outdoors as much as I can on that, and basically just any opportunity I get. And like I say, check me out on Facebook. Anybody wants me, I'm easy. I just like to have fun. I got a small PA, so it don't take much to get me going, or got a system where easy to plug in, do that. So Cash to Springsteen, some originals, but a little bit of everything. And kind of got back into John Prine again. Man, I just worked up Spanish pipe dream again. And Miss Priney, man, god dang. It's been a tough 5 or 6 years too, man. With some of the best writers around, to miss out on. So
They have. Anything you need to add here?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Tex
right now.
explained everything very well.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to any opportunities to getting down to play at the Cabana again. And,
I'm sure we can find something
at
this year.
some point. But like I say, I'm just up the road from there. I'm only about 7 miles, and got 10 acres that I've lived on since 1960. Moved out there with grandparents and mom, and then was away when first few years that I was married, and then after granddad passed away about 15, 16 years ago, while we moved in over there. So got our little piece of heaven right there.
I've seen a lot of photos, so yeah.
And you probably remember the tree house. At one point, I had a 4-level tree house, and she gone.
Yeah.
She went down. Finally,
Came down.
Yeah, it finally too much wind. But
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Absolutely appreciate it, Tex.
I appreciate you. Peace and courage to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Till next time.